Hello, everyone. Mr. Minnick's my name. Math is my game. Last year, it was clearly brought to my attention that normally when I start that, I say, Mr. Minnick's my name. Math is my game with a little pause in it, so I purposely didn't pause. Anyway, this is the last lesson of the year that I plan on taping. As you can tell, we're pretty excited. The last lesson that I recorded did not render. It's in, I don't know, it disappeared. So anyway, my Algebra II second period class, we're about to look at this homework. It's Chapter 7, Section 5, solving log and exponential equations. And before we do that, I just want to remind everybody not to forget about National Microphone Day on January 12th. Not January 12th, December 12th. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right. So number one, we'll go ahead and start right at the beginning. If you don't have a calculator, you might want to grab one. You'll probably hear all kind of rustle in the background as students are grabbing calculators. I'm kind of looking forward to this weekend. I don't know about anybody else, but hopefully it'll be a nice, relaxing, enjoyable weekend. I'm kind of looking forward to figuring out what's wrong with this computer soon, because every time I try to do the one cutout thing, it doesn't work. So anyway, number one, this is the homework. This is it. We're asked to solve this. So you might think to yourself, so if I could look at that and I might be able to figure it out. I know that 2 to the first power is 2, so the answer is not 1. I know that 2 squared is 4, so the answer is not 2. But it's probably a little bit bigger than 2. Does that make sense? So if you have some number sense, if you just think to yourself, you could say, well, the answer is 2 point something. And if it was a multiple choice test, that might be enough to get the answer. What do you think? What if the multiple choice question says something like 2.31, 2.65, the log base 2 of 5, or the log base 5 of 2? Yeah. I don't know what it is. The decimal one, I don't know what the answer is. The decimal ones I made up. But let's see. All right. Why? Oh, YouTube's there because I was about to upload something. So, does anybody in here have some Skittles? What kind of Skittles? Like not the rainbow of Skittles. No, some Skittles. If you think back to when we defined a log, we said the log base b of y equals x if and only if y equals b to the x. Do you recall that? And do you recall the first few examples when I said you're going to need the skill that says you can change something from exponential to log form and vice versa? All you've got to do to solve number one right here, all you've got to do is to convert to log form. That's all you've got to do. That's it. And you'll have the answer. That fast. One step. You'll have the answer. Log base something. What's the base? The base is the thing raised to a power. In this case, it's 2. We don't know of what, but we do know that a log equals an exponent. A log equals the power. So that's going to all equal what? X. X equals that. X equals the log base 2 of what? There it is. That's your answer. You're done. That is pretty easy. The final exam, it's going to be multiple choice, and the answer might be a decimal, and it might be an exact answer.
So, like, if those 4 choices,
if it was all decimals, you would actually have to evaluate that expression using a calculator. But if there's a log answer, you should pick that one, right? Yep. So let's take a look at this on the calculator. Speaking of the calculator, I'm going to start up a new document. I never know what other people are doing on the calculator. And you know what really bothers me? I went into about a 4-minute rant in the video that didn't show up. And I don't know if we have time for a 4-minute rant. But it bothers me that people still use this thing on the calculator. What is that called? The scratch pad. Could you imagine having a spy car, and never using any of the cool gadgets on it? That's what it's like using the scratch pad. The scratch pad is very limited in what it can do. I see people using it. The scratch pad is always locked into radian mode, so if you ever have to do anything with sine, cosine, and tangents and you're working with degrees, you're going to get wrong answers all the time. The scratch pad doesn't have a lot of the same features and abilities that the regular calculator does. So what I mean is, let's use a calculator page, okay? Don't use the scratch pad. It's bad form. It's not a good idea. So we want to solve that equation. It was 2 to the x power equals 5. And I see people typing things into the calculator, and they type things in like that. And they say, oh, but this calculator is supposed to do everything. Well, it will, if you know how to access the gadgets. So what did I do wrong here? The equals 5 shouldn't be in the exponent. Okay, so let's try that. The equals 5 shouldn't be in the exponent. So let's put the equals 5 on the side. Here we go. Oh, I got to put n solve. I got to n solve this. N solve. There we go. I've got to n solve that. I've got to n solve that. And I need a comma x. Well, why didn't you tell me? Oh, now do you see how many times it took me to get that right? I see people put that back to the calculator and they're all pissed off, and they throw the calculator back in and they peel off the sticker and they peel off the label on the radio frequency transmitter, like the calculator did something wrong. No, you just don't know how to use it. You're in class not paying attention when we're trying to help you pass your final exam. So don't blame the calculator. Don't get pissed off at the calculator because you don't pay attention in class. You picking up what I'm putting down? All right. So the answer then, if oh my gosh, stupid calculator. Okay, 2.32, that's our answer. Now, but wait a minute, we said the answer was the log base something. Some people don't even know where the log button is. If you don't, here's your chance. Make sure you know, because if you can use this calculator, you should at least get a 60% on your final without the curve. Because you could just punch in just about everything on here. And you know what gets me? Well, I better not. People, there's like 4 people that don't have a calculator in their hands. Whatever. Log base what of what? Base 2 of 5. There it is. Same thing. Okay. All right. Oh, it's magic. You know. So number 4 is a little bit different, a little bit more challenging. I like how they ramp these up in difficulty. Number 4, we got to put this in log form. So log base 2 of 9 equals x plus 3. Good. Now, that's a good question. You're going to have to. Is that what you're going to ask? Do you have to write it like that, or can the log go first? There's this thing called the reflexive property. You could write the log base 2 of 9 equals x plus 3. You could write it that way. The big thing is when you have that minus 3, you got to be real clear about that. So the answer, the solution is going to be x is the log base 2 of 9. Now that minus 3, you got to be real clear about it. The minus 3 is off to the side. You could simplify that. If you didn't put parentheses around that 9 and then you put this minus 3, you might think it's a log base 2 of 6, right? And that's not what we're doing. We got to take the log base 2 of 9 actually. We got to actually take the log base 2 of 9. Now, in a pre-calculus class, that answer would probably be what your pre-calculus teacher would want. On the final exam, some of your answers might be looking for the exact answer like that. So make sure you can solve these by hand also. You picking up what I'm putting down? Now the cool thing is you can use the calculator to confirm the decimal equivalent of these. So maybe we better do that. Log base 2 of 9 minus 3. Log base 2 of 9 minus 3. So the decimal answer is 0.169925. And if I wanted to numerically solve this, I had, what was it, 2 to the x plus 3 equals 9. Is that what I had? And I'm solving that for x. There it is. More than one way to the Eastwood Mall. Make sure that you can use the calculator to do that. Also, not a bad idea to know how to do these by the old-fashioned way. Question? And solve, we're doing this by hand. 6 in one, half dozen the other. It's easy as a relative term. Question? Question about rounding. Sometimes the test, they'll round their answer to 1 decimal, sometimes 2, sometimes to the, I don't think they'd round that to the nearest whole number. Just the best thing I could tell you is watch the directions on the test. On the homework, I would be ecstatic with this answer. This log base 2 of 9 minus 3, because that's the answer. That's the exact answer. The second you approximate that, you have to say the answer is approximately 0.1699. So, true. We ready? El próximo, number 7. Lucky number 7. Wasn't that a movie? Well, 7 requires a little bit of this. Housekeeping. What do we got to do first? Subtract 5. So we get 2 to the x plus 6 is equal to 4. And who said housekeeping? My cousin. So I want to show you a different way to solve this one, if you don't mind. Because there's more than one way to the Eastwood Mall. And I told my first period class, one day you're going to have to get to the Eastwood Mall to buy your daughter's prom dress. And if you don't make it to the Eastwood Mall, you can't get there because there's a water main break. There's a lot of water main breaks. There's one in Hubbard, there's one in Camel, there's one in Austintown, all kinds of water main breaks. They happen all the time because the infrastructure is old. Anyway, there's this thing that says if the bases are equal, then so are the exponents. Then so are the exponents. What I mean by that is if we had something like 2 to the x equals 2 to the y. So if we had 2 to the x equals 2 to the y, you know what that means? It means that x equals y. So, question? Okay, who can read my mind and tell me what I'm going to do to that 4? I'm not going to divide it by 2. I'm going to rewrite it as 2. I'm going to rewrite this 4 as 2 raised to some power. 2 raised to the second power. On the left side of the equation, I've got 2 to the x plus 6, right? Well, what's that rule say? The rule says if the bases are the same, then what? That the exponents are the same. Well, the deal is since we have this expression, we could go straight to just saying x plus 6 equals 2. X equals -4. There you go. We don't need no stinking calculator. That's it. X equals -4. How are we feeling about that one? Pretty good? Oh, pretty good. So, let's see if that -4 works. -4 plus 6 is 2. 2 to the second is 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. Last one in this set. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I almost said I can't believe it's not butter. That's so unusual. I was thinking of Fabio or Fabio. 2 to the 3x is going to equal what? 15. Good. Now, if I'm pretty good with numbers, I could think to myself, well, 15 is kind of close to 16, and 16 is 2 to the fourth, and 4 divided by 3 is 1.3. So my answer ought to be somewhere in the ballpark of 1.3. 1.3-ish. Somewhere close to that. Do you see the number sense that I ran through in my head? A lot of people don't have that skill. They have it and they just don't try. It's kind of like, well, I don't know what it's kind of like. Never mind, I better not go there. Okay. I better not go there. I was thinking about motor vehicle operators, and maybe I'll rant about that after we get through this set. So what's our little trick to solve this? Well, we can't change 15 into base 2, though, easily. So I guess the only other alternative we have to do is to rely on our skills. We're going to change it to log form, yeah. So it'll be the log base 2 of 15, and that's equal to 3x. We divide by 3. Now be careful, when you divide by 3, some people say, well, 15 divided by 3 is 5. That's true, but we said our answer is 1.3, and earlier we said that the log base 2 of 5 was like 2.32. So we can't do that. So it's the log base 2 of 15. This is all over 3. Okay. A lot of people want to pull this crap and try to say, and so this equals the log base 2 of, this equals, oh gosh, this equals the log base 2 of 5. No, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Okay. It's the log base 2 of 15 and then divide by 3. So let's see. So question, do we put that in parentheses? You could put the log base 2, like this whole quantity, in parentheses. That was supposed to be parentheses. I'm using a mouse. That was pretty bad. But yeah, you could put that in parentheses. You don't have to, but if you want to, certainly not wrong to. Certainly not wrong to. So let's see. The log base 2 of 15. Whoa. What the heck? The log base 2 of 15. The log base 2 of 15. So I need all that over 3. There we go. Our answer is 1.3. Look at that. We knew the answer before we even started. Imagine that. Imagine that. So what was it? It was solve. I can't spell. I'm a bad speller. I spelt solved with an N, another N. Solve 2 to the 3x minus 2. 2 to the 3x minus 2 equals, was it 13? And we're solving for x. Bam. There it is. Any questions so far? Question. How many decimals? On the homework, 2 decimal places gets the idea across. And again, keep in mind, in a pre-calculus setting, having an exact answer would be a prudent thing. In equivalent forms, that's one of the things that I don't probably talk about as much as I should. Some people might write this as 1/3 times the log base 2 of 15. Some people might write it that way. No, it wouldn't. And actually, if you punch that in the calculator, you'd get the same thing. And if you took it that far, you remember our log properties? You could actually take that 1/3 and make that the power of 15. So this would also be the log base 2 of the 3rd root of 15. And that's what some tests in pre-calculus do to try to confuse you. They'll put this in alternative forms that you need to be able to recognize. It's kind of like that one actor, not Adam West. Michael Keaton. Anybody ever see Michael Keaton? Michael Keaton was the best Batman ever. And Michael Keaton was Beetlejuice. And Michael Keaton kind of looks like the boy from The Millers. We're the Millers. Here we go, Michael Keaton. There's Michael Keaton. Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton. Batman, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton, eyebrows. Now hold on, wait a minute. What about the boy from the Millers? What was his name? Red-headed boy from the Millers. Hopefully it doesn't show the worst picture it could possibly show of him. You know what I'm talking about. Doesn't Michael Keaton kind of look like him? Doesn't he? Okay. Anyway. Oh, I was going to confirm that that's all the same thing on the calculator, so here we go. The log base 2 of the third root of 15. Of the third root of 15, there it is. All the same thing. Do you see what I'm saying there? You got to be able to identify those things in different situations. So, all right. I haven't ranted yet about motor vehicle operators. It's probably better off that I don't. Here we go. Real quick rant about this. 46. The Eastwood Mall. 422. Anybody know where I'm talking about? Now 46 actually goes off this way too. So imagine, here you are. There's a motor vehicle operator here. There's a car here who's going to turn into a motor vehicle operator. And here you are. And you're trying to go to the best hot dog shop on the planet over in Girard. It's actually a little further down the road, but Jib Jab, you're trying to get out to Jib Jab. You know where it's at? It's awesome. So anyway, Jib Jab has really good hot dogs. That's where they make the chili for the Warren hot dog shop. Yeah. So here you are, you're the third car in line, and you're trying to make this left-hand turn. Anybody ever know the intersection I'm talking about? So you know what happens. You're waiting. The light changes, and this person up here is operating a motor vehicle. And they're on their phone. And the light changes, and they're not going. So here you are, you're like, honk, honk, honk! And this person's flipping off the guy behind them, thinking that the guy behind them flipped him off, when in fact it was you. And the guy behind him opens his car door and raises his fist, and then they start having a shouting match. And the guy up here is like, oh man, he's bigger than me, he's going to kick my butt. So he gets in the car, the light changes yellow, he goes through it, and this guy's on the road down to the Jib Jab. And this guy is now at the light, and he's fuming. So he's got to go on Facebook and talk about this jerk at the light that just made him mad that he didn't want to get into a fight because he knew to get his butt kicked. So now you're back here. And now here comes somebody rolling coal in this big Dodge with mirrors that are way too big. So this guy now is posting something on Facebook, and here you are, and the light changes. And this guy's posted on Facebook, so he's not going. So this guy in the Dodge, he's rolling coal. He honks his horn, and this guy thinks that you flicked him off. And you're like, it wasn't me. And he gets out of his car, and he looks at me, and he's like, yeah, I could take him. And then he goes, no. And then next thing you know, the light's yellow. He looks up, and he goes, and he's off to Jib Jab, and here I am stuck at the light. I can't stand motor vehicle operators, so get out there and drive, please. Drive. Get out and drive. Don't operate motor vehicles. It's not worth it. Has it happened to me? Oh, you could only imagine. Could only imagine. All right, that's enough. That's my public service announcement for the day. Drive. Don't be a motor vehicle operator. Just drive. Just drive. All right, so here they want us to round to the nearest thousandth. That's 3 decimal places. We might not have to in some of these. I could show you how other books explain how to do this, but it's too confusing. Ain't nobody got time for that. We got Skittles. We know that the log base b of y equals x if and only if y equals b to the x. All we got to do is have that Skittle and put this into exponential form, and you'll have the answer, bam, right now. X equals 10 squared, which equals 100. How long did that take? How long is it going to take you to punch that into the calculator? You don't even know where the log button is. You don't even know what to put in if there isn't a base there. The log of x equals 2. And you're going to remember to end solve. You're going to remember to end solve. But what are you going to put in for the base if it's not there? Maybe you'll put it in 0 because you don't know what to put in because you weren't paying attention in class. Oh, you did pay attention in class that day, and you're going to put the 10 in. There we go. Good. Awesome. And there, comma x, and there it is. Nice. Good. We got that one? Good. All right. You think it's easy, these are easier by hand? I think so too. Some of them are faster, I think. So here we have the log of 2x equals, we got to do some housekeeping. Subtract the 2, so log of 2x is going to equal 4, right? So in log form, we're going to have something equal something to the something. 2x is going to equal the base 10 to the power of 4. And 10 to the 4th is a big number. It's a lot. It's about how much money I could go for right about now. I could pay off a couple credit cards. That'd be good. 10 grand? 10 large? So 2x is 10 large. And so x would be 5 large. Anybody ever hear 1,000 called large like that? Anybody ever have $10,000 in their hand? It's kind of cool. I know a man who when his time expired, he had 50,000 on his person. $50,000 cash on him. It's a lot of money to carry. They didn't bury him with the no. That's a lot of cash to carry. 15 grand or 50 grand he had. Yeah. I really like this problem. This problem makes me like math. Well, yeah, it's a log of 5x equals 0 because these cancel. So the log of 5x equals 0. And some people, they jump to conclusions and they say, well, it's no solution. Well, don't jump to that conclusion just yet. We got to have some Skittles. Our base is 10, right? So 10 to the 0 is equal to 5x. And any non-zero number to the 0 power is 1. So we have 5x is 1. And then you divide by 5. Be careful. Yeah, we get 1/5. We get 1/5. Now, the book said round to the nearest thousandth. So there you go, 0.200 if you wanted to the nearest thousandth. But I like 1/5. Got him? If it was on a pencil paper test, I'm a big fan of exact answers. I don't think I would ever ask you to round it to the nearest thousandth. I like exact answers. The multiple choice, final, they're probably going to have it in decimal form. Some of them. So we got 2 left. I think we can handle it. We can get these done before the bell. I've got to give a shout out too, by the way. My first period class, I can't believe they wanted to shout out everybody in there, but none of you guys. None of you. They didn't want to shout out any of you. Maybe we shouldn't even do shout outs because of that. I don't know. So what's this all going to equal? -2. So in exponential form, we're going to have what to the what equals what? (10 to the -2) equals 4x minus 3. So 10 to the -2, that's a really small number. That's 100th. So 4x minus 3 equals 100th. If you want decimals, there you go, 100th. So we could add 3. So 4x would equal 3.01. And so x would be 3.01 divided by 4, whatever that is. I don't know. It's a small number. Well, it's not that small. It's like 0.75. Real close. Well, could we just do this end solve business? End solve 4x minus 3. 4x minus 3 plus 6. Plus 6 equals 4. Come on. Why does it have to do this to me now? My cursor is. Shout out to first period for not giving a shout out to second period. No, they shouldn't get a shout out for that. Shout out not to first period. There we go. So I need the log. Oh my gosh. Log of 4x minus 3. I wonder what will happen if I don't put the 10 in. I'm going to try to omit the 10 and see what happens. So this is plus 6 equals 4, comma x. There we go. Yeah, the answer is about 0.75. 3.01 divided by 4. A little bigger than point. Well, I said 3.01 divided by 4. Oh my gosh. 3.01 divided by 4. 3 weeks later. There we go. Okay. Question. So the calculator automatically puts a 10 in if I forget. It's too nice to us. It's kind of like Mr. Scholl. I don't know Mr. Scholl too well. I know he and I have the same first name, so it's a good first name. It's a good first name. You think I'm too nice to people too? Sometimes. What's happened? Mr. Scholl gets a shout out for having the best first name ever. You know what Matthew means? Look it up. I'm not gonna say. I'm not allowed to say. No, not on Urban Dictionary. In the what names mean? Is that minus 6 equals 4? Okay. So when we do this housekeeping, we got to add 6 first, and then divide by 2. So that's going to give us 5. The log of 250x equals 5, right? So we'll have 10 to the 5th is 250x. 10 to the 5th is 100,000. So 250x is 100,000. So x then is going to equal, let's see, a 0 cancels a 0. 25, that's 4. Should be 400. Should be 400. I know somebody looked up what Matthew means. Do we find it? A sexy guy that has a nice toothbrush. No. A gift from God is what it means in Hebrew. Insolve of 2. Oh my, we're just full of flattery now. Let's see, minus 6 equals 4. There you go, 400. So it's been real, it's been fun, this is it. Last video of the year. Any questions, comments, shout outs? Shout out to the future Mr. Minnick. And shout out to the class of next year, because they're going to watch this video sometime in May and say, oh my gosh. And a shout out to the seniors. Oh, and a shout out to the nice long holiday weekend. Make good choices. Have a nice long weekend. See you. Good.